Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to a new edition of PAS Workshops. Please leave your comments or queries in the comment section for us to take them up. And let's give everybody another 5 minutes and then get started. Good afternoon to everybody who's joined us today. Super excited to be here and take you through multiple flexi benefit plans for you all. Welcome again to the workshop on designing the right tax saving plan for your employees. I will be your host for this workshop. My name is Avlasha and I am a tax saving expert at PASCare, which is India's leading employee benefits platform. Quick introduction about myself. I handle key accounts at PASCare. I have more than 8 years of experience in handling key accounts. Before PASCare, I've worked with Simple, Finbox, Misho, and Townscript. In this 45-minute workshop, we will delve into the ultimate guide in designing the right tax saving plan for your employees. And by the end of this, you'll be able to opt for some of the most comprehensive benefit offerings for your employees. We'll learn how organizations are boosting their benefits offering without shelling out a lot of excess capital, right? At the same time, creating a useful employee perks package at the workplace. Apart from offering a competitive salary, companies are increasingly implementing employee benefit plans to enhance employee satisfaction and meet their diverse needs. And one such innovative approach is the Flexi Benefit Plan. FBP allows employees to choose specific components of their salary and personalize their benefits according to their needs and preferences, resulting in tax savings over and above the investments done under ATC and ATD of the Income Tax Act. As an employer or as an HR, there are multiple things you need to do to implement a flexi benefit plan in your organization, starting from compliance to managing the benefits, right? Now, here is a quick stats for you. Here's an interesting stat for everybody, right? About 80% of the HRs believe that employee benefits are only restricted to health insurances, which is shocking that only 20% of the folks believe that there could be benefits such as professional development, tax savings, health and wellness, and maybe a personal finance, right? So here I am to sort of help you understand what are the benefits you could offer over and beyond the health insurances. So today in our session, we'll be talking about the different flexi benefit plans that we have in place. What exactly flexi benefits is? Why is it that you need to implement a flexi benefit plan now more than any other time of the year? And how is it that you could implement this plan in your organization? What are the best practices you could take, you could implement to implement such benefits in your company? Now, before we move forward, a quick poll for everybody. I hope you're all able to see the poll on your screens. Please go ahead and vote. Do you currently offer any flexi benefit plan to your employees? Flexi benefits are beyond insurance, right? It could be maybe a food card or your fuel wallets or any kind of professional development allowance or a health and wellness allowance. Any benefit, employee benefit over and above the health insurances. So, guys, please go ahead and share your votes. If you do, please vote on yes. If you want to but you're not sure about it, please vote on the second option. And if you want to but then you don't have a lot of employees under the taxable income, then you vote for the third option. And let's say that you want to but you think you don't have the budget, you opt for the last option. I'll give everybody a minute to vote for this. If you currently offer any kind of benefits over and above the health insurance, keep the votes coming, guys. I'm able to see that a lot of you all already do, but then there are a few folks who want to but then are not very sure on how to implement this. Keep voting. I'll give you another 20 seconds to vote. If you offer any kind of flexi benefits, any kind of benefits over and above the health insurances that you give out to your employees. All right, we have the results. If you are able to see my screen, yes. So about 43% of you go ahead and you have opted for flexi benefits and you are implementing this in your current organization. That is a really good number. And then there is about 28% of the folks who want to, but then you are not sure how to implement it. Don't worry about that. You are here at the right place. In this workshop, we are going to discuss about the best practices to implement this. Why is it that you should implement this? So I will be taking you through the entire process. There is about 9% of the employers here who want to opt for it, but then there are not many employees under the taxable income. So you could still go ahead and opt or offer flexi benefit plans for them, right? Even if there are very limited number of employees who fall under the taxable income, you would still want them to be benefited from tax savings, right? So I will again take you through what are the steps you could implement to help them out in saving taxes. And the last option is that you want to opt for it, but then you don't have the budget. That is the best part about flexi benefits, right? You don't really need a budget. All you need is a policy. You need to implement a policy in your organization that these are the different allowances that you want to give out, and that's about it. You're good to go ahead with it. So now we will deep dive into what flexi benefit is, right? Now, as per the Income Tax Act, there are certain components on which you are exempted from paying taxes. Now, these components are a part of your CTC, right? These are flexible because, as per any company's compliance, the upper limits for all the allowances or for all the components can be set flexibly, right? Now, what are these components? These are food, fuel, telecom, gift, learning and development, gadgets and equipments, books and periodicals, and more. Now, when it comes to the food wallet, as per the Income Tax Act, each employee can have a meal at office and still get exempted from paying taxes. As per the fuel wallet, if you own a motor vehicle, you are able to fill in petrol for your vehicles and get exempted from paying taxes. When it comes to the telecom wallet, you can opt for it when you want to pay your internet bills at home or you want to recharge your mobile devices and get exempted from taxes. Gift cards, if you're looking to purchase anything on an annual basis, could be from an e-commerce website, could be from any of the online portals, then you could opt for the gift wallet. And learning and development as an allowance is given out to those employees who are looking to upskill themselves or reskill themselves, get a course from any of the online portals, or any employee who's looking to get an online certification or an offline certification could opt for the learning and development wallet. Then there is the gadgets and equipments wallet, wherein, if there are certain sets of employees who bring in their own gadgets, electronic gadgets, solely using it for official purposes, could be a laptop, a mobile phone, or any kind of gadget that is being used for official purposes, can opt for this allowance. Then there is books and periodicals. If you have a certain set of employees purchasing books on a regular basis, or they have a magazine subscription, or they have journals in place, you could give out an allowance on books and periodicals to these set of employees. So, as an employer, you would either load wallets for all of these wallets, and so that the employees can go ahead and transact across these wallets either online or offline. Or you could follow a reimbursement model. Let's say the employees avail all of these benefits. You can follow a reimbursement model wherein the employees submit the bills and they are able to claim these benefits, right? Now, let's talk about some of the limits on these components set by the government. So, as per the government, for the food wallet, each meal is capped at 50 rupees and that is getting exempted from taxes. Now, as an employer, you would want to give 2 meals per day, and if you're working 5 days per week, that amounts to 2,200 rupees per month. Regarding fuel wallet, if you own a certain motor vehicle and if the motor vehicle has an engine capacity of less than 1600 cc, then you can give out 1800 rupees per month. If it is more than 1600 cc, you give out 2400 rupees per month. If you own a two wheeler, then the allowance is 900 rupees per month, and as per the driver's salary, you give out 900 rupees per month, right? Now, regarding the gift wallet, each employee can avail up to 5,000 rupees per year and still get exempted from paying taxes. This is something they could use on any of the big e commerce platforms, or they could use to transact on any of the online portals. Now, regarding all the other wallets that you see on my screen, telecom, books and periodicals, gadgets and equipments, learning and development, there is no government defined limit as such. The allowance depends upon the kind of policy you have in place as an organization. So let's say you want to give out the telecom wallet. The allowance can either be standard across for all the employees, that let's say you're giving 500 rupees to all the employees for them to transact on any of the internet service providers website, or for them to make their mobile recharges. Or as I said, it can be a flexible benefit model wherein if somebody makes more money, if somebody is on a senior level, you can give them a higher allowance. So although there are no government defined limits as such, here are some of the limits that we have recommended for all of these wallets. So for telecom, it's somewhere between 1500 to 3000. For books and periodicals, it's 1000 to 3000. For gadgets and equipment, since gadgets come on a little higher side, come on an expensive level, so it's about 3000 to 10000. And then for learning and development, for courses, again, it is between 2000 to 5000. Now, here's another quick poll for everybody. So, in this poll, I want to understand if you offer allowances or wallets other than food. So, as I explained, there is food, fuel, telecom, gifts, gadgets and equipments, and so on, right? Now, food wallet is a very popular wallet. A lot of employers do give this out. But what about the other allowance? Do you give out other wallets? If yes, is this a part of the employee's salary structure? If yes, again, is it a reimbursement model that you follow? I will give you guys another 30 seconds to get your responses. So, do you offer any allowances other than the food wallets? Please share your responses here. Last 10 seconds, guys. Please share your responses. Awesome. We're going to end the poll now. You should be able to see the results on my screen. So, about 55% of you do not offer allowances other than the food wallet. Some of you do as part of employee salary, and then the others do it on a reimbursement model. So, now for those of you who don't offer benefits or allowances other than food wallet, now if you look at maybe fuel and telecom and gifts, right? Now, these still become some of the components which individuals like us use on a daily basis, right? Let's talk about, let's say, you're always filling in petrol for your vehicles, or you are paying your internet bills. So, if you are able to save taxes on that, why not opt for it, right? So, that is sort of the idea behind implementing flexi benefit plans in any organization. The folks who are offering it as part of employee salary, good job, guys. You should be offering more and more benefits to make sure that your employees are staying motivated. And for folks who are following a reimbursement model, again, as long as you're offering it, it's a very good benefit to offer. However, with reimbursement model, the challenges that you would face is to, sort of validate and verify bills. Your employees are having to save and store bills till a certain period of time so that they submit it, and then your payroll team is validating this, right? So I'll dig in a little deep on how is it that you could make this process a little better. Now, why is it that employees should opt for flexi benefits, right? The answer is very simple, it's savings. Now, if you look at my screen, if you go ahead and offer all of these allowances that are listed, right? A meal card, fuel card, gift, telecom, L&D, books and periodicals, gadgets and equipments. And on a monthly basis, you load these respective amounts that are listed on my screen. And annually, you give out a total allowance of 1,93,200. So we'll talk about three different cases here, three different types of employees who fall under different tax slabs. So the first employee who falls under the 5% tax slab saves about 9,900 rupees, 5% of the 1,93,000 amount. The second employee who falls under the 20% tax slab saves about 39,640 rupees per year. Again, 20% of the 1,93,000 number. And the third employee who falls under the 30% tax slab saves about 59,460 rupees. I mean, these are the kind of savings you can expect with Flexi Benefits card, right? Now, as I said, components like maybe L&D or gadgets and equipments might not be a popular one, right? Not all employees would want to opt for it. But if you still look at meal, fuel, gift, and telecom, as I said, these components become our daily spends. We transact on these components on a daily basis. So if we are able to save taxes on that, which is still quite an amount, why not opt for it, right? Now, from an employer's point of view, why would you want to offer flexi benefit plans to your employees? Now, as an employee, any employee would want to be assured of one thing, that their employer cares for them, right? If you take care of your employees today, they take care of your customers, they take care of your business. And when you take care of such employees, they decide to stay longer in your organization. You're able to retain really good talent in your company. And when such employees talk about the culture in your organization, you're also able to hire better talent, right? Now, overall, it leads to an employee satisfaction. By implementing flexi benefits in your organization, you're able to develop a very skilled and a very sincere workforce in your organization. So that's why any organization, any employer would want to offer such benefits to their employees. Now, time for another quick poll. So, how much do you think you can save on your payroll costs, right? So, you have a payroll team that is sort of validating bills and everything, right? Now, with flexi benefit plans, how much do you think you can save on your payroll costs? Is it 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, or more than 30 lakhs? I'll give you all 30 seconds more to vote for any of these answers. So, how much do you think you can save on your payroll costs? Awesome. We'll end the poll, and you will shortly be able to see the results of the poll on the screen. So, wow, about 67% of you think that you can save about 5 lakh rupees. About 19% think it is about 10 lakhs. Then there is 5% thinking it's 20 lakhs. And then there is 10% thinking it's 30 lakhs. So, broadly, there is no right answer to this question, right? It depends on the scale of your organization. If your organization has about 50 to 100 employees, you could save up to 5 lakhs. How? Because your payroll team is no longer now validating bills, verifying bills, and ensuring that your employees are transacting in only those set of components in which they are exempted from paying taxes, right? The results have right. And if the scale of the organization is somewhere between 100 to 200, you could save about 10 lakhs. If it's a 500 plus organization, you could save about 20 to 30 lakhs. So the results would vary based on the scale of the organization. So now we'll talk about an impact study of one of India's most popular media house, right? Who went ahead and used pass card for flexi benefits. Now, from an employer's point of view, they were now able to see on an org level what are the different components in which their employees are transacting. They were able to track and monitor all the expenses and look at all the utilization reports made by their employees. Their rate of attrition decreased by a whooping 42% in the financial year 23, right? And as we discussed in our previous poll, they were able to save about 30 lakhs on payroll costs. Now, from an employee's point of view, since this particular organization only opted for the food and fuel wallet, each employee was able to save on an average 24,500 rupees per year, right? And since this was implemented in the last financial year, we saw again a whopping 83% utilization across all the wallets that they had opted for. And lastly, since a lot of these employees were based out of tier 2, tier 3 cities, they were working remotely with the access to Passcare's open network, which means the freedom to literally transact anywhere and everywhere as long as they fall under the right set of merchant category. Most of the transactions, about 30% of the transactions, came in from tier 2, tier 3 cities, right? So that is the kind of impact Pascare was able to make in an organization with a total savings of about 74 lakh 84,609 rupees per year. Now, what are some of the best practices to implement flexi benefits in the organization, right? So, basically, the first thing step is to implement a policy. Now, what is a policy? It's basically a document wherein you talk about the different set of components that you want to offer to your employees in the upcoming financial year. What about the limits of those components that you're willing to offer? If any form of proofs have to be collected, if there are bills that have to be collected, what are some of the criterias for those bill submission process? This is basically a policy that you need to set in your organization. Now, once you set this policy, some of the best practices to sort of take it forward is to do a session for your employees, right? Hold a brief session for your employees, take them through some of the best tax saving plans, what sort of amounts your employees can expect to save with flexi benefits policy. Now, once you've done the session, the second step is for you to float in a survey. Again, a very, very important step, because you will be deducting these amounts from the employees' enhanced CTC, right? Your employees need to be comfortable or need to be convinced that this model is going to work out for them. So, float in a survey on how many employees want to opt for it, which are the different set of components that they need to opt for, and based on their responses, when you take things forward. Now, the third step from an employee's point of view is to choose these components and limits, right? These components have to be chosen based on your convenience. Let's say, for example, I don't know how to drive a four-wheeler, right? So, a fuel wallet does not make sense to me. But however, if I look at a telecom wallet or a food wallet, that makes sense to me. So, the employees need to choose the right set of components that would work out best for them and choose the relevant limit that would fit in best for them. The fourth step here is to declare all of these components and limits in their payroll portal and submit any kind of documentation that could be needed, right? Now, let's say that an employee wants to opt for the fuel wallet. So, a vehicle registration certificate would be mandatory, because then you would want to know whether you have a vehicle with engine capacity less than 1600 cc or more than 1600 cc. So, go ahead and declare and submit your documentation in your payroll portal. And the last step is that you complete your KYC process and start saving on taxes. Yes. So I think we'll do one round of the Q&As that we have. Just 1 minute. So the first question is, if this is applicable for EVs as well. Now, if the EV setup is in a petrol pump, then you are able to avail these benefits. Right now, at any of the EV specific stations, there is no card machine as such wherein these model can be accessed. This model can be accessed and be benefited from. But if this model is present in any of the petrol pumps, you can still, go ahead and get benefited from this model. Do we have to collect proof for availing these? Right. So for food and gift, it is not really mandatory for you to collect any kind of proofs. If you solely follow a reimbursement model and do it in house, then it becomes a tedious process for you to sort of collect bills and then have them validated and so on. But if you have another vendor to help you out with this, then proofs is not mandatory. However, when it comes to components like learning and development or gadgets and equipments, it is important. It is compulsory that you collect proofs, because how else would you track whether the employee is transacting for himself or somebody else? So that's why bills submission becomes very compulsory for that. Can you please explain again on gadgets and equipment? So gadgets and equipments is a wallet for those set of employees who basically want to bring in their own set of devices. This could be their laptops or mobile phones. If you are a lot into the sales role, you would be making a lot of calls. You could bring in a monitor or a keyboard or a mouse, any kind of electronic gadget that the employee will be using solely for official purposes. That employee can have that amount deducted from their special allowance and then go ahead and save on taxes. We are not offering professional development, children's education hostel. I heard that companies may more notices from the idea of So, Madhu, I can, sort of share the exact clauses mentioned by the Income Tax Act. This will be pasted on the link on the chat box shortly. So, as per the government, you are able to go ahead and get exempted from taxes from LTA, telephone, driver salary, and so on, right? As long as you stick to the compliances, you stick to the guidelines mentioned by the government, mentioned in the document that is shortly going to be shared with you, there should be no challenges as such. I mean, currently we are supporting more than 300 organizations with multiple benefits, and there has not been much of a concern. So have a look at the document, and if you have any further queries on this, then do get in touch with us. Our tax expert will get in touch with you and share further details on the best practices. What if the company is providing vehicle? The company has given the employee a vehicle for personal use, but the vehicle is registered under the company's name. If it is again, if the company is providing the vehicle, then you might not be able to opt for the tax saving benefits. But as I said, this is for your personal vehicle that you own. uh, if the company is providing the vehicle, uh, but then if you are paying for the petrol, then you can still go ahead and opt for this benefit. But if the company is paying for the petrol and it is company's vehicle, then there is no way you can justify that, go ahead and save on taxes. So if it is your own personal vehicle, then you can go ahead and save on taxes. Is there a specific guideline on L&D? Typically, R&D companies are allowed to do that. Any tech startups are eligible. So it's not just the R&D companies, but it is beyond R&D companies, right? For example, if you have employees who are using these courses or availing such benefits for their personal upskilling or reskilling, right? Let's say if somebody wants to, as long as it's very relevant to their job role, let's say somebody in an analytics role is getting a course related to analytics, then they can still go ahead and opt for it, right? It shouldn't be like fiction books, for example, are not falling under such category. So as long as it is resulting in the upskill of the employee, you can go ahead and opt for or offer such benefits such as L&D. Now, here's our last poll of the day. Would you like our tax saving expert to reach out to you for further queries? If yes, or if no, you're already in touch with somebody, or if you're not looking to switch from your vendor, please go ahead and share your votes here, please. Our tax saving expert is a brilliant one. They are going to take you through the best practices and help you with a very smooth onboarding process. So go ahead and please share your votes. Will all outlets accept this card? Hi, Anushka. Yes, since we are doing this by restricting the card machines basis government defined merchant category codes, yes, we have an open network, so you will be able to avail this benefit across an open network of merchants in India. Can you avail the gadgets allowing once a year? Let's say instead of limiting it to monthly, can we do? Yeah, so you can definitely do this on a monthly basis or a per annum basis. If you do it monthly, what happens is it takes a lesser toll on your employees. So you've mentioned limiting monthly to 10,000, meaning that it doesn't take that big a toll on your employee because you're just deducting a minimal amount from their CTC. But doing it 1,20,000 per year takes a toll on your employees. So the best practice to do this is deducting it once in a month, and once the amount gets accumulated, the employee can go ahead and purchase and get exempted from taxes. What would be the ideal way to include in our salary structure? So, Amit, basically, as I said, the first step is to implement policy, right? You can see that on my screen. As I said, a policy is a document which covers the details about the wallets that you want to offer, the respective limits that you want to have in place. And we also will be sharing a sample template of the policy with you shortly after this call. In our upcoming slides, you will also be able to download it from our QR code that we'll be sharing. So the best way to do this is to set this up at the start of a financial year, because it is at the start of the financial year where you decide and implement your entire salary structure for the entire financial year, right? So at the start of the financial year, you implement this policy, make sure your employees opt for it, and that's the ideal way to do this. Regarding a sample template on the policy, we'll share it with you shortly. How fringe benefits help employees to save taxes? Uh, Sneha, if you could elaborate a little bit more on fringe benefits, please. Can we reimburse iPhone purchases under gadgets? Is it similar to bring your own device? So yeah, there has to be a documentation in place in your organization that, let's say, for example, Ablasha is bringing in her own iPhone that she's solely going to use for calling purposes, for her sales purposes. If this particular information is documented somewhere, then yes, you are able to go ahead and purchase iPhones as long as this amount is getting deducted from the employee CTC. Flexi benefit tax benefits could be availed even for a new. Okay, good question, Padmini. So, regarding the old tax regime, all the wallets that I have discussed now are applicable. For the new tax regime, food and LTA is not applicable. But apart from those, the other wallets that you could offer is fuel, telecom, gifts, L&D, gadgets and equipments, and so on. So, as per the new tax regime, food and LTA will not be applicable. What's the maximum value that can be availed for company owned car assigned to employee as perk? And so for both of these cases, shortly we'll be sharing the link to the Income Tax Act. For both of these cases, the limit set by the government is somewhere between 1800 rupees to 2400 rupees based on the engine capacity of the vehicle. Now, if you are a frequent traveler, if you're a frequent, somebody who travels a lot for work and uses fuel allowance, you could go over and government defined limit and offer a higher allowance, right? Now, what are the best practices to do that? Basically, you will need to have maintained logs. So, in terms of, let's say, any kind of business meetings, let's say there is an employee who's getting 10,000 rupees fuel allowance every month. For those set of employees, the employer has to maintain a set of logs that so and so meetings happen on so and so dates, these many kilometers were traveled, and so, right? So if you maintain logs as to when these meetings happened and how many kilometers were traveled during these meetings, you can go over and beyond and offer any amount as decided by the policy of the organization. So you can definitely go over and beyond the government defined policy. If gadgets I think your question is gadgets and equipment wallet compliant? Yes, it is very much compliant. The link to the Income Tax Act will be shared shortly. Have we shared it? Yes, the link has been shared, so kindly go ahead and check the link. It is very much compliant. Is there a vehicle policy for employees? Not just I'm not sure. So, as far as I'm aware, there is just the fuel allowance that can be given out and the driver's salary that can be given out, both for four wheelers and two wheelers. So, those are the benefits just for the vehicle policy. How do we onboard new joiners during the year? So I'm sure during the onboarding session, you take them through your company's policies, you take them through the different benefits that you offer as an organization. And during that onboarding session is where you tell them about flexi benefit plans, what are the benefits of such offerings, and how they could avail. And once they give their consent to opt for a certain set of wallets, you could have that implemented in their salary structure, and then they will be able to save on taxes. These benefits applicable for new tax. I think I have already covered this question, Tushar. So as I said, for the new tax regime, food and LTA is not applicable, but all the other wallets that we've discussed is still applicable. Is gadgets and equipments? Yes, Kiran, I've answered this. It is applicable. You can check the details in the Income Tax Act section. Can I add these benefits as part of gross salary? And employee can claim benefits by submitting bills. Yes, Bhagwat, you can do that as part of the special allowance. These benefits can be bifurcated and you could give out meal, fuel, telecom, and gift. There are two ways to do this. Either you can follow the tedious process of accepting the bills and then validating those bills and then accordingly adjusting that amount in taxes. There is also another way wherein you offer or you opt for a multi-benefit card, and the employees are able to transact at the right set of places accordingly. If employees are submitting bills for food and we reimburse them on account, will that not be taxable at complete? Uh, so if I think the question I'm trying to answer now, if you are offering meals in house, then you will not be able to offer a food wallet. If you are sort of reimbursing the entire food amount to them from the company's wallet, then flexi benefit for food is something that will not be applicable. So it will not be taxable. It will be taxable, yes. Um, could you please tell us more about what's the maximum value as fuel can be availed? Okay. Yeah, as I said, it's somewhere between 1800 to 2400. You could go over and beyond this allowance given you're maintaining logs at your end. If employees travel a lot for meetings, then you could maintain logs and offer a higher allowance. So we'll quickly just switch to the presentation and I'll come back to your queries. Don't worry, guys, I will take up all of your questions. Now we will talk about another case study, right? So this is case study on X to 10X, right? Our partner, one of my favorite partners in Flexi Benefits. So X to 10X is a platform that offers end-to-end products and services suite for businesses to attain razor sharp focus on scaling, right? Now, here is an example of an organization that truly cares for its employees, right? Why do I say that? Because, as I said, most of the employers implement flexi benefits at the start of a financial year, right? Because it becomes very tricky for you to go back and forth and make changes to the salary structure, implement flexi benefits in the middle of the year, right? But this is an example of a company that implemented flexi benefits at the in between a year, right? Why did they decide to do that? Because their employees came to them and they wanted to make sure that they are able to save on these components. So this company, these guys, they've availed food, fuel, telecom, gadgets and equipments, learning and development, books and periodicals, gift cards. I mean, it was like a jackpot deal for Pascare, right? Their employees were seamlessly able to get onboarded to the app. They were able to complete their KYC very seamlessly and able to transact across our open merchant network, right? With just one single multi benefit card, they were able to transact at a restaurant, at a kirana store, at a petrol pump. They were able to transact on any of the internet service providers' websites. So that's the kind of impact Passcare had on this company. Now, in terms of amounts, on an average, each employee was saving about 34,860 rupees, and all the employees saved about 19 lakh 17,000, right? So, this is sort of an impact that we had on one of our clients. So, let's just go back to the questions. Okay. Now, I'll just quickly show you all a video on Taskcard. Take a look, guys. Awesome. We have Sachin here. Sachin is one of our partners, and Sachin is here to share some of his key insights or some of his feedback and how his experience has been with Flexi Benefits, right? Hi, Sachin. Welcome to PAS Workshop. Thank you so much for joining in today.
Hey, Alicia, thank you for inviting me.
Great. So, Sachin, here's my first question to you, right?
Yeah.
So currently, what are the different allowances or what are the different flexi benefit plans that you have at your organization?
So what we were doing is we were, providing the tax benefits to our colleagues, and by the time until today, people were getting saving the tax, and they are pretty much happy with it.
Got it, got it. Was it just the food wallet that you're offering, or were there multiple?
Both meal and fuel wallet we were offering, and I was in touch with Saurabh to to get additional things from as well from Pascal.
Lovely, lovely. And what sort of an impact do you think the open network at Pascare has had on you? I mean, have the employees benefited from the open network of merchants in India?
Yes, 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 definitely. So I'm not sure, like many other people would have noticed it, but with the use of the the debit card, people were able to use it like whenever or wherever they want it to be. Even some of the colleagues have used it, to get the gas cylinder refill as well for the fuel wallet. So that is also happening. So yeah, it's a great way of to utilize the funds, not just limiting to one or two things.
Amazing. And how has the onboarding process for the employees been? And what sort of support have you received? And how has your experience been so far?
So starting from the with the getting the contract signed, it was very smooth. Like we have done in like maybe 6 or 7 working days. We have done all the legal work and everything, and after that, like whenever we were topping up the wallet for meal and food, it just take like maybe 24 hours, just one day to get the things done. So it was definitely a good experience. And when we were doing the onboarding for all the colleagues, I think we never have a single issue while doing the onboarding and video KYC thing. So it was
Amazing.
actually all good.
Amazing, amazing, Sachin. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
moving
Thank
on.
you. Great.
Moving
Thank
on.
you, Mr. Yeah.
So here's a brief about Pascal, right? I'm sure you all saw the video. Uh, So now let's talk about what we've built, right? It's a beautiful product that we have in place. It's a multi-benefit card wherein you can offer both a virtual card and a physical card. The virtual card is something you will have access to from our mobile application. And these cards are controlled by government-defined merchant category codes, which means you could go to any merchant outlet in India as long as there is a card machine that is linked to the right set of merchant category codes, you will be able to transact there successfully with our very seamless onboarding session, with our seamless end-to-end KYC, digital KYC happening inside the app itself. We make sure that the card is adopted across all the organization. That we've seen an increase in adoption of the card when it comes to Pascare because we are able to offer that open network to employees, which gives them the freedom to literally transact anywhere and everywhere. And from an employer's point of view, you are given a dashboard, you are able to real time see the utilization reports, track and monitor all the expenses made by your employees, and accordingly deduct taxes. So that's about it with the session. If you want to learn more, request you all to set up a one-on-one with our brilliant tax saving expert. They're going to give you a brief and deep dive into how the product works, what are the best practices to do this for your employees. Request you all to go ahead and scan on the QR code that you can see on the screen, and please do get in touch with us. Please book a slot with us. We will assist you in the best possible manner. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and answer all your queries. Hi, Sanya. Can you explain about gift cards? So, gift card is something that can be used to purchase on any of the big e-commerce platforms. You could transact on Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, Nykaa, or you could buy your non-food items on Swiggy, Instamart, and so on. Right. So, a maximum of 5,000 can be allocated to your employees. If the employee is paying for the petrol but vehicle is registered under company's name, yes, again the limits will be between 1,800 to 2,400 based on the kind of vehicle you have in place. This is covered in the Income Tax Act as well. How can we provide fitness allowance as part of FBP? Good question. There is no cap, Arun, but fitness or health and wellness as a category is a little tricky one because, as per the government, as per the Income Tax Act, this allowance has to be standard for all the employees. And not just the allowance in terms of let's say what sort of gym or what sort of cult subscription that you give out, it has to be standard for everybody, that all the employees can benefit from the health and wellness wallet only from that particular gym or that particular cult, or it has to be standard apart from the allowance. So there is no upper limit as such. As I said, in any given month, the allowance should be less than or equal to the special allowance that you're giving out to your employees. So, Sneha, if you could talk about what fringe benefits are. Okay. For perks or extra compensation over and above regular salary. Um, So that those are the flexi benefits or the tax saving benefits, right? That we just discussed. This could be your health insurance. This could be your professional development, any kind of personal finance advisory that you want to give out, or any kind of tax saving benefits. Um, so yeah, more or less around those kind of benefits, you could give out these allowances. Health insurance is not a tax saving benefit, Nikita. What all benefits are being provided by big companies? So most of them offer food, fuel, telecom, learning and development, or as they call it, professional development, because all the large organizations want to give out such allowances so employees are able to upskill themselves and get an online certification maybe. There's gift cards that is also being given out. So commonly, these are the wallets that are offered. Can you avail a gadget allowance once a year, let's say, instead of limiting monthly? I think I have answered the employees mind. So they could follow the reimbursement model in this case. Let's say that they could declare that in this particular year they would want a gadget allowance of maybe 1,20,000. Accordingly, those taxes, that TDS can be deducted on a monthly basis, and they can still go ahead and buy the iPhone at any given point of time in the year, as long as they submit the relevant bill. Is there a backend team at Pascare that reviews the uploaded bill? Yes, there is a backend team at Pascare. Also, your team, your payroll team will also be given access to the dashboard so that they are also aware about the kind of bills that are being submitted. How will the plan benefit the employees? Yes, so I had also mentioned that you could go ahead and download our sample template of Flexi Benefit Policy. You can see the QR code on the screen. Please go ahead and scan and download our version. It's, as I said, a sample template. You can go ahead and build on top of it. How will the plan benefit the employer? So as I said, right, it's more like a benefit, an employee benefit that you're offering your employees. In terms of, let's say, if you're already offering it but then you're doing it manually, then definitely your efforts of the payroll team are going to be minimized. They are no longer manually going to validate these bills. Everything is going to be automated now, right? But overall, you would want to offer such benefits to make sure that your employees are satisfied, and you're able to retain some top talent, and there is a very skilled and educated workforce that you have in place. Is there a vehicle policy for employees? I think I have already answered this. Flexing would be available even for. So, ideally, bills or tracking such expenses is something that is not mandatory as per the government. If you give out the gift allowance, let's say it's 5,000 rupees per year, which is about 417 per month, you will be loading the gift wallet with 417 rupees every month, which the employee can use to transact, as I said, on any of the e-commerce platforms or any of the online portals as such, right? So you don't really have to record these transactions because gifts are very personal. This is like a very personal information, so you would not want to record this. So every month you just load 417 and your employees can transact. So hi Nikita, your question is if we can add uniforms to this. Uniforms can be added, but then it's again restricted to a very niche set of organizations. wherein they have a very standard policy that all the employees are supposed to be dressed in a certain manner, and everybody's outfit has to be uniform. As long as you have a policy as such, then you are able to implement it. But however, if you still have a uniform policy on what sort of formal attire that the employees have to come to office to, you can still go ahead and offer it to your employees. For telecom benefit, is it just for postpaid connection? It is for both. Both postpaid and prepaid can be covered here. Will all fuel stations Yes. So, regarding the cards at the petrol pumps, right? So these eateries or these supermarkets inside petrol pumps have a different card machine, and the card machine near the petrol pump is different. And both the card machines are linked to different merchant category codes. And our card is also built very intelligently that it is able to deduct it is able to decide from which wallet the amount has to be deducted from. Yes, Madhu, if you have any further queries on the compliance bit, happy to set up another session with you one on one, and we could take you through the best practices to offer further or other wallets. Can we put chauffeur allowance in the FlexiPay components? Yes, Gopi, you can offer this. As I said, 900 rupees is the allowance per month. Yes, Pascare will help you do this. Request you to set up the one on one with our tax saving expert. We would like to introduce. Yes, I think that will be a very detailed discussion, Madhu. We only have 6 minutes into the session, so request you to set up a one-on-one with us, and we'll take you through the best practices to implement Carly's policy. If food is provided to employee based on the choice of in case food wallet be applicable. Yes, that is absolutely right. If you're offering meals to the employees at office, and if there are certain employees who are not benefiting or not opting for these meals, you can go ahead and offer the meal wallet to them. Can we claim newspaper subscription? Yes, you can definitely claim newspaper subscription, magazine subscription, any kind of books that you purchase. Again, these books have to be very relevant to the field that you are working on. So please make sure you stick to the compliance. Does PAS have a minimum employee count? So yes, we do look at a minimum of 100 employees from an organization to be able to offer the service. But nonetheless, we would definitely help you implement this even if you are an organization of a smaller scale, Lisa. This was answered. Can we give fuel allowance to employees for coming in? Yes, fuel allowance can be given to employees for traveling back and forth to office. Will there be any annual charge? If yes, so Komal, request you to set up a one-on-one with our expert. Charges or the service cost can be decided. Request you to scan on the QR code that you can see on my screen, and we'll definitely take you through what sort of plans we have in place for you. Can we utilize the telecom? No, Priya, as per the Income Tax Act, if you want to recharge your mobile device, it has to be for yourself. If you have an internet connection at home that is commonly being used by everybody, you can still pay for it because you are accessing to it. But in terms of mobile recharges, it has to be only for your mobile device. Very good question. Second question is a really good question. If all your wallets are not utilized in that particular financial year, whatever unutilized amounts you are left with, that amount becomes taxable. Basically, in the month of March, you will look at all the unutilized amounts of your employees. You will deduct taxes on the unutilized amount for the March month's salary. What happens to the unutilized amount in Pascare is that now it moves into an open wallet. When I say open wallet, it is no longer a restricted wallet to be transacted in food or fuel or telecom. It is more like an open wallet, like a regular debit card that can be used anywhere and everywhere, right? So the unutilized amounts will be taxed. Yeah, Gadget is not in the name of the company, but Tushar, what you will have to do is, let's say at Pascare, Pascare has not given me a laptop, and they will have that documentation in place that Avilasha was not given a laptop. She has brought in her own gadget, and she's solely using it for official purposes in terms of security and IT. All the guidelines, as per the company's guidelines, are implemented on the device, and ensuring that Avlasha is only using that gadget for official purposes. As long as you have all of these declarations in place, because tomorrow, as you said, if an audit happens and you're asked how Income Tax Act can allow such a deduction in terms of allowance, you need to be answerable as to why you have not offered a gadget from companies in, and how Avlasha has a gadget of her own. Um, no, Sneha. So, books and periodicals allowance is for those set of employees who opt for or purchase books on a regular basis, who have a magazine subscription or get journals. L&D is for those set of employees who look to upskill themselves by getting maybe an online or an offline course, or basically any form of online certifications that is helping them get better at their job. So both are different allowances. Fuel allowance, it is, as I said, if you stick to the limits between 1800 to 2400, you are exempted from taxes. Anything above that will be taxable. Regarding telecom wallet for family members, I think I have answered this. What happens if you lose the card? You have to mark it in the app that you've lost the card. Once it's lost, we'll be reissuing another card for you, and then you can go ahead and transact. Yes, if you introduce special allowance in gross salary, then employees can submit bills and get benefited from the allowances. Is there any benefit for non-tax? No, Shivani. Right now, we are talking about flexi benefit plans that fall under the salary structure for taxable income. So, unfortunately, we don't. Amount in food wallet can be carried forward. Yes, that is correct. As per your company's policy, if you want it to be carried forward to the next financial year, it can be done. Do you have any template for tax saving or research? Yes, yes, we do have a template. Request you to scan on the QR code on my screen, and our tax saving expert will be able to take you through the different salary structure and the best tax saving plans for you. We would like to have the benefits rolled out for our UK entity. Will you be able to? So these flexi benefit plans are as per the Indian government's Income Tax Act guidelines. So if you have employees based out of India, then yes, they will be able to avail these benefits. Can we give fuel allowance to the employees for coming and going to office? Yes, I've answered this before. This allowance can be given out. Wow, I've covered all the questions and I'm right in time for the session. So, you can see my screen. This is the website for the Income Tax Act. All the allowances that I covered during the session today are mentioned over here. So request you to all, please go ahead and schedule a one-on-one with our tax saving expert. We would gladly reach out to you and help you implement this for the next financial year. Awesome, guys. It's been okay. We have one more question. Do we have to collect proof for availing these benefits? So, for a certain set of components, as I said, for gadgets and equipments, learning and development, health, books and periodicals, it is mandatory that you collect bills because you would want to make sure that these allowances or these benefits are taken care of by the employee himself, right? And not by his family members or his friends. So, in that case, it becomes mandatory for you to ask for bills. But in terms of food and fuel and gift and telecom, as I said, pass card, at least the most accepted tax saving benefit card, it's built in such a manner that it is only accepted at those set of outlets which are restricted by government defined merchant category codes. So for food, fuel, and the other wallets, you might not want to ask for the bills, but for other secondary wallets like books and periodicals and gadgets and equipments and learning and development, a bill upload becomes mandatory. I think that's about it. We've already passed our time. Thank you so much for joining us today, guys. Please go ahead and scan on the QR code on my screen. It's been a pleasure talking to you all and answering all your questions. Have a guys. Thank you once again.